right. We go. Okay. Everybody ready? Okay. Good afternoon and welcome to the November 21st, 2022 meeting of the Lincoln City Council. The meeting is called to order. We're going to start first with the Board of Equalization meeting. In accordance with LB 898, a copy of the open meetings law is posted at the back of the chamber by the northwest door. Let us all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silent meditation. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Our first order of business as the Board of Equalization is to elect a chair, so I will open the floor for nominations. Are there any nominations for chair for the Board of Equalization?
Nominate Councilwoman Tammy Ward to be chair of the Board of Equalization.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Would you please call the vote? Madam Chair.
Rabel.
Yes.
Schob.
Yes.
Bowers.
Yes.
Washington.
Yes.
Beckius.
Yes.
And Ward.
Yes.
Motion carried 6-0.
Thank you. The order of business for the Board of Equalization is as follows. Each year, the Lincoln City Council passes a number of improvement district ordinances. Today, we are here to equalize the assessments for several such districts: the Downtown Core Management Business Improvement District, Downtown Maintenance District, Downtown Management Business Improvement District, and the West Haymarket Downtown Maintenance District. The land described in each one of the districts are benefited by the improvements in the districts. The cost of these services are paid for by the city from its Special Assessment Revolving Fund. It is then necessary for the city to recoup its costs from the benefited properties and reimburse its revolving funds. The costs or assessments are computed by the Urban Development Department and presented to the city for its review when sitting as the Board of Equalization, as we are now. The clerk will please read a description of each district individually from our agenda. After the district is read, a representative from the Urban Development Department will come forward to make a brief statement about the district. Then anyone wishing to testify may come forward. We ask that if you do come forward to please state your name and sign the sheet on the podium. And Madam Clerk, will you please read the first item?
For today's agenda on the Board of Equalization of Monday, November 21st, 2022. Downtown Core Management Business Improvement District, generally bounded by N Street on the south of Pinnacle Arena Drive on the west, then north and northeasterly along Pinnacle Arena Drive to 8th Street, then south along 8th Street to the S Street, then east along S Street to 9th Street, then south along 9th Street to Q Street, then east along Q Street to 10th Street, then north along 10th Street to a point approximately mid-block between Q Street and R Street, then east along said mid-block point to 14th Street, then south along 14th Street to Q Street, then east along Q Street to Centennial Mall, then south along Centennial Mall to M Street, west along M Street to 13th Street, south along 13th Street to L Street, west along L Street to 12th Street, north along 12th Street to M Street, and then west along M Street to 9th Street, then north along 9th Street to N Street, west along N Street to Pinnacle Arena Drive. Downtown Maintenance District, extending from 7th Street on the west to 17th Street on the east, and from R Street on the north to M Street on the south, including the properties abutting on the west side of 7th Street from N Street to R Street, the east side of 17th Street from Q Street to M Street, the north side of R Street from 7th Street to 10th Street, and south side of M Street from 8th Street to 17th Street, both sides of 13th Street from M Street to Lincoln Mall, and all of Cornhusker Square. Downtown Management Business Improvement District, generally bounded by N Street on the south and Pinnacle Arena Drive on the west, north and northeasterly along Pinnacle Arena Drive to 9th Street, southeasterly along 9th Street and I-180 to a point approximately mid-block between R Street and Q Street, east alongside said midpoint to 14th Street, then south along 14th Street to Q Street, east along Q Street to 17th Street, south along 17th Street to K Street, west along K Street to 14th Street, south along 14th Street to a point approximately mid-block between Lincoln Mall and H Street, west along said mid-block point to 10th Street, south along 10th Street to K Street, and west along K Street to 8th Street, north along 8th Street to N Street, and thence west along N Street to Pinnacle Arena Drive. West Haymarket Downtown Maintenance District, generally located along the west line of Outlot C, West Haymarket addition from approximately K Street on the south, north to N Street, and continuing north along the center line of Pinnacle Arena Drive to approximately 9th and 10th Streets, south to R Street, west to 7th Street, south to O Street, east to 8th Street, south to the alley south of south to the alley south of N Street, and thence west to the east line of Outlot C, West Haymarket addition.
Thank you, Madam.
Ron Kane, Urban Development. I'm the staff person that prepared the proposed distribution of assessments before you this evening. And they're based on expenditures that have been incurred between September 1 of 2021 to August 31 of 2022. The maintenance districts are assessed on a street frontage basis, whereas the other two districts are assessed based off the property valuation as determined by the county assessor with any exemptions from the treasurer's office. And I'm here to answer any questions you may have regarding how I calculated the assessments.
Thank you very much. Are there questions for Brian or comments on his calculations? All right, very good. Thank you. Is there anyone else present that would like to testify on these issues? What's before us? Anyone else present? Okay. Seeing none, Madam Clerk, could you please call the vote?
I will need a motion.
That would be helpful, wouldn't it?
Move to approve.
Is there a second? Thank you. Moved by Raybold. Now, Madam Clerk, would you please call the vote?
Raybold,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes.
Washington,
Yes.
Beckius,
Yes.
Schob,
Yes.
Ward.
Yes.
Motion carried 6-0.
All right. I would entertain a motion to adjourn the Board of Equalization meeting.
So moved.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded by Beckius. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, please call the vote.
Raybold,
Yes.
Washington,
Yes.
Schob,
Yes.
Beckius,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes.
Ward.
Yes,
Motion carried 6-0.
we are adjourned from the Board of Equalization meeting. Thank you very much, Brian. Yes, that's right. All right.
Okay.
So, Madam Clerk, can you please move us on to our regular agenda of the Lincoln
Yes.
City Council?
Due to the Thanksgiving holiday, City Council will not meet on November 28th of 2022. Next on our council agenda is our consent agenda, sections 1 and sections 2.
Is there anyone present that would like to testify on these items? Welcome, Director Elliott.
Good evening, Liz Elliott, Director of LTU, and with me this evening is Chris Walsh for the Star Tran Advisory Board.
Yay.
It's my privilege and excitement to introduce Chris. Chris, I got to know over the last year and a half-ish as we were renegotiating the UNL contract, and so it was a lot of education on both of our parts, and so it's exciting that we'll be able to continue this partnership, and Chris will be a tremendous asset to StarTran. Not only has he worked as the executive director of university operations, and has been with the university for over 20 years now, so we have that great insight to what the university needs in our partnership there. But he brings a keen insight to the financial world and was extremely helpful as we work through the university contract. So with that, I will introduce Chris Walsh.
Welcome, Mr. Walsh. Would you like to say a few words?
Just that it will be my pleasure to serve if approved.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions? All right. Thank you for agreeing to
Big
be
thank
appointed.
you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Director Elliott. All right. Anyone else present to testify on items 1 or 2? Items 1 or 2. All right. Seeing none, we can move on.
We can now vote on these items. Item 1A is reappointing Thomas B. Blanton to the Veterans Memorial Garden Advisory Council for a term to expire November 1st, 2025, introduced by Washington.
So moved. Second.
Seconded by Raybold. Any discussion? Seeing none, please call the vote.
Raybold?
Yes.
Schob?
Yes.
Bowers?
Yes.
Washington?
Yes.
Beckius?
Yes.
Ward?
Yes.
Motion carried 6-0. Item 1B is appointing Kim Morrow to the District Energy Corporation Board for a term to expire November 21st, 2024, introduced by Washington.
So moved.
Second.
Seconded by Beckius. Discussion? Seeing none, please call the vote.
Raybold?
Yes.
Bowers?
Yes.
Washington?
Yes.
Beckius?
Yes.
Schob?
Yes.
Ward?
Yes.
Motion carried 6-0. Item 1C is appointing Chris Walsh to the Star Tran Advisory Board for a term to expire November 12th, 2025, introduced by Washington.
So moved.
Second.
Seconded by Beckius. Any discussion? Seeing none, please call the vote.
Washington?
Yes.
Raybold?
Yes.
Schob?
Yes.
Bowers?
Yes.
Beckius?
Yes.
Ward?
Yes.
Motion carried 6-0. Item 1D is reappointing Brody Weber to the Keno Human Services Advisory Board for a term to expire December 31st, 2025, introduced by Washington.
So moved. Second?
Seconded by Raybold. Further discussion? Seeing none, please call the vote.
Beckius?
Yes.
Bowers?
Yes.
Raybold?
Yes.
Washington?
Yes.
Schob?
Yes.
Ward?
Yes.
Motion carried 6-0. Item 1E is reappointing Emily Deeker to the Star Trek Advisory Board for a term to expire October 20th, 2025, introduced by Washington.
So moved. Second?
Seconded by Raybold. Discussion? Seeing none, please call the vote.
Schob?
Yes.
Raybold?
Yes.
Bowers?
Yes.
Washington?
Yes.
Beckius?
Yes.
Ward?
Yes.
Motion carried 6-0. Item 1F is reappointing Tammy Ward to the District Energy Corporation for a term to expire December 31st, 2024, introduced by Washington.
So moved. Second?
Yay.
Seconded by Raybold. Further discussion?
It's a good thing.
Afraid to ask, no. Seeing none, please call the vote.
Washington?
Yes.
Bowers?
Yes.
Raybold?
Yes.
Beckius?
Yes.
Schob?
Yes.
Ward?
Yes.
Motion carried 6-0. Items 2A through 2C was introduced by Schob.
So moved.
Second?
Seconded by Washington. Further discussion? Seeing none, please call the vote.
Bowers?
Yes.
Beckius?
Yes.
Raybold?
Yes.
Washington?
Yes.
Schob?
Yes.
Ward?
Yes.
Motion carried 6-0. That concludes our consent agenda. We shall now move on to Section 4, our liquor resolutions. Item 4A, application of DNS Operations LLC doing business as a cigar lounge for an addition of an outdoor area measuring approximately 11 feet by 45 feet at 800 Q Street, Suite 104.
Is there anyone present to speak on this item? Item 4A. Anyone present to testify on this item? All right. Seeing none, we can move on.
Item 4B is manager application of Jason Korn for 48 Bowl Inc., doing business as Hollywood Bowl located at 920 North 48th Street and Parkway Lanes, and pub located at 2555 South 48th Street.
Is there anyone present to testify on this item? Item 4B, please come forward.
I'm Jason Korn.
Welcome. Do
Thank
you
you.
want to tell us a little bit about your license application?
What's there to tell? No, I manage 48 Bowl Inc., which is Hollywood Bowl, Parkway Lanes,
Okay.
family owned and operated, and just trying to take over the general management of it.
Okay, so switching managers, very
Yeah.
good. Okay, understood. Any questions for
No.
Mr. Korn? Great. Seeing none, thank you very much.
Break.
All right.
Wow.
Whoa, it's getting,
The jokes.
it's not even late yet. Councilman Shob, I would recognize you for.
I appreciate that, Madam Chair. Seeing no one else coming forward to talk about these two items, 4A and 4B, I'd like to motion approval.
Second.
Seconded by Beckius.
Thank you, Mr. Beckius.
Any discussion? Seeing none, please call the vote.
Bowers?
Yes.
Washington?
Yes.
Beckius?
Yes.
Schob?
Yes.
Raybold?
Yes.
Ward?
Yes.
Motion carried 6-0. That concludes Section 4 of our agenda. We shall now move on to Section 5. Public hearing resolutions. Item 5A is accepting and approving the report of new and pending claims against the city for October 16th through October 31st, 2022.
Is there anyone here that would like to testify on any item on 5A, the pending claims? Okay. Seeing none, please, let's move on.
I'll be calling item 5B, Comprehensive Plan Conformance 22020, application of the Urban Development Department Director to review as to conformance with the 2050 Lincoln-Lancaster County Comprehensive Plan, a proposed amendment to the Lincoln Center redevelopment plan adding the 300 South 16th Street redevelopment project to include the rehabilitation of a multifamily structure on property generally located at 300 South 16th Street.
Anyone here that would like to testify on this item 5B? Please come forward. We'd love to hear about it. I thought you were dressed alike at first.
We could do that, but we're twinny enough as it is. We don't need to make it any worse.
Yeah, you are quite twinny. Yes. Yes, welcome back.
Yep,
Yeah.
thanks. Thanks for taking the time to, meet with us this evening and let us talk a little bit about the project. It's one that, I don't know if excitement is quite the right word, a little bit of fear in there, but it's a big 23-unit, 22-unit apartment building there at 300 South 16th Street.
The green one, right?
Yeah, we call it Frankenstein because it's big, scary, and right, I'm wearing my green shirt for the building. Yeah, no, it will not be green by the time we're done with it. But the plan is to renovate it. It's currently in terrible condition. Graffiti on the inside of it. I mean, doors are knocked off hinges. It's just broken windows, broken everything. So in very, very bad condition. So the plan is to renovate it with a focus on historic preservation, on sort of energy efficiency, and affordable housing, or kind of the three goals that we're trying to accomplish. Currently has an old boiler, a giant old boiler in there. The previous owner actually they vacated the entire property because it was the building was 50% occupied and the boiler was costing more to run than it was to bring in 50% rent. So very inefficient old system that we'll be replacing with high efficiency mini split systems.
Yeah, our plan is to put an updated electrical system in each apartment. Right now, there's one 15-amp service to each apartment for everything, which is grossly underpowered. It's all knob and tube. It's outdated. It's a fire hazard. It's a safety issue. The panel in the basement. We showed it to one of our electricians. He said it looked like something from Green Acres, which apparently was an old TV show. So it's in bad shape, but we're going to update all that kind of stuff. We're going to go through and update plumbing, new supplies. A lot of it's galvanized supplies, which corrode over time and things like that. So we're looking at new drain systems, new water supplies, and all that kind of stuff. So fairly extensive restoration without going too far.
We're not moving walls and that kind of
Right.
stuff. So trying to keep the original floor plan in place, and just kind of updating the infrastructure.
Windows are another big expense that we're looking at on this one. To update energy efficiency, a lot of them are not original double hungs, but probably double hung windows from like the 1950s or so, and they're outdated at this point. They're falling apart. So our plan is to get some of the windows have been replaced already with vinyl. Those we intend to leave. The existing wooden windows we plan to replace with I believe
aluminum clad wood
window.
So
And
trying to walk that fine line between
Yeah.
historic integrity and energy efficiency, getting the double pane, argon filled, all that kind of stuff.
all
so.
while managing a budget.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
which
Budget.
Can
Okay.
spiral
Yeah.
out of control on something.
These
like
guys
this.
know how to have fun.
Oh yeah. No, we
It's
don't.
wild. Come on down.
No, we don't. No, we keep making the same mistakes.
Could you go ahead and state your names for the record?
I know.
We happen to know you, but for the
Right.
record,
Seth
yes.
Flowerday.
And Luke Flowerday.
Thank you.
So
And
Getting
do
the cart
do we
ahead
need
of
an address for them, Madam Clerk? Probably. An address would be helpful.
Yes.
What's that?
oh, you're
Yes. Yes. That would be great. Yes.
My apologies. I think my screen was delayed upstairs, so I was still on liquor resolutions when I came down. So I
That's okay.
greatly apologize.
All right.
And I think you were in good hands with the Flower Days. So,
Yeah.
We're having fun. Yeah.
so I appreciate that.
You didn't show up like we're all out.
Sorry about that. I just thought, well, I have plenty of time. It's still on liquor resolution. So I'm I'm Hallie Salem. I'm with the Urban Development Department. Again, I just thought I'd give a brief overview since I missed your overview. So this is just the redevelopment plan amendment, and feel free to jump in, guys, anytime you want. So, the project will be the reconstruction of 22 units, and I don't know if they went over that it was approximately 12 efficiency units, 8 one-bedroom units, and 2 two-bedroom units, with some room for some flexibility for changing as things get reconfigured, walls get reconfigured. So this redevelopment plan contemplates using the TIF funding generated by the project for things like site acquisition, historic facade enhancements, energy enhancements, and other public enhancements allowed under the community development law. It is expected to generate up to $450,000 in public financing through either principal or principal and interest, and that's with a approximately $1.9 million investment in the project. So this has been to Historic Preservation Commission, and they reviewed it more as an advisory. I think we were looking to preserve this building that we feel has a lot of historic integrity for the south of downtown neighborhood. And the Planning Commission found it in conformance at their October 19th Planning Commission. And so we're proposing, we're asking you today to find it also in conformance with the plan, that it helps us meet our goal of 5,000 dwelling units created in the downtown by 2050, and then creates the general goal of preserving historic structures and adaptive reuse in the comprehensive plan, and then preserving affordability under the downtown master plan, and hoping to create a diverse mix of affordable housing units. So one of the goals that we hope to be achieved by this project, while preserving affordable units over a 20-year period, and that includes so approximately 50% would be affordable to those earning 60% or less of the area median income over the next 20 years, and then up to all of the units, 100% of the units being affordable to those making 100% or less of area median income. Right. So that is the project in a nutshell. I don't know if they shared any of the images, but this is the general location at 16th and M. And if you haven't seen the inside of the building,
Brace yourselves.
they did share some images with us of the interior of the
These are some of the
building.
nicer units. We did try to.
Yeah. Oh, they look like they're ready to move in.
People were living here last March or
Wow.
winter. I mean, it's sad.
It's
And
time for this building to get a new life,
Yeah.
a new,
But you can see why we call it
identity.
Frankenstein. It's big, green, and
Scary.
scary monster.
So
Thank you for these.
Have fun.
These
I know.
Yeah,
photos.
We won't. It'll be good when it's done, though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
the mantra we kind of live by. It'll be good when it's done.
Mm-hmm.
no, it'll be nice for this building in particular.
Yeah.
It has needed love for a while.
It has
So-
a very long time, yep. And it's been driven down to the point where it's time for a complete, a holistic approach to the whole process. HVAC, electrical updates, plumbing, the whole works. I mean, at this point, there is no way to just put a Band-Aid on it, at least in my opinion.
There's so many Band-Aids on this
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah,
We gotta pull them all
yeah.
off. It's time for surgery.
Yeah.
Only have
We
one place
appreciate-
to go, and that's up.
And that's up
yeah.
from here, yeah, totally. That or knock it down, but we don't want to do
No,
that. So
no.
it's, too cool of a building, so.
Mhm.
Thank you for being here. Are there other questions or comments that have already been made? Okay. All right. Thank you. All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you, Holly, as well. All right, let's move on.
I'll be calling item 5C and 5D together. Item 5C is approving the Coyote Fink Phase One project redevelopment agreement between the city and CTAC Enterprises relating to the redevelopment of the property generally located at 500 North 66th Street, and amending the fiscal year 22-23 CIP to authorize and appropriate $240,000 in tax increment financing funds for the Coyote Fink Phase 1 project.
Ms. Salem,
I am
welcome
on
back.
time for this agenda item.
Stick
Again,
around, you won't miss anything.
My apologies.
Oh, no worries.
So Hallie Salem, 555 South 10th Street, Urban Development Department. Here for two items, the Coyote Finke redevelopment agreement, as well as the fiscal year 22-23 CIP amendment. The agreement with you today is with the Clock Tower Animal Clinic for the construction of a 7,900 square foot veterinary clinic and improvements serving that clinic. The redeveloper is a local business owner who has outgrown their current space. They're currently located on the east side of Walgreens at 70th and O, and they would like to expand their facility. The redeveloper, Tyson Schlenker, is here to provide a history of their business as well as a description of the site, and they're here with their attorney, Andrew Willis. And I'll have them come up after I go through the rest of just a short description of the project. This is phase 1 of a up to 3-phase project. This is an old site plan that was provided as part of the Urban Design Committee presentation. And I'll wait till that comes up in a moment. And I believe this has changed somewhat. This is the general area of the phase 1. And then this is the area of the phase 2 or 3, as well as this 2 or 3. But what we're asking you to consider is this first phase. So it's this, it's shown in Exhibit B, as lot 32 right here, and includes the parking as well. And then the current condition of the site. They've cleaned the site up dramatically since they first started working on this. They've cleaned up some of the plant material and removed a greenhouse that was adjacent to the Finke Garden Center. And then this is the proposed phase 1 site. They're expected to invest about $4 million in this first phase. It is expected to create a new assessed value of approximately $1.4 million and generate approximately $240,000 in TIF. Because of the size of the TIF, this is eligible for our small TIF, use of our small TIF, and so we intend to do that with a repayment period of 15 years. And then the TIF will be used for site acquisition and site preparation, and amounts are shown here, as well as the city administrative fee. You previously voted on this project and approved the blight study back in June, and furthermore approved the redevelopment plan in August. They've also received approval from Urban Design Committee for the project at their February meeting, and have since had meetings on other phases that aren't quite ready to come to you yet. And then they also held a neighborhood meeting in May and a follow-up meeting this month to share project updates with the Meadow Lane neighborhood. And with that, are there any questions? Or
Questions?
would you like to hear from the developer?
Thank
Yes.
you. Yes, Councilwoman Washington.
Thank you. Ms. Salem, I just, this looks like a really interesting project. But I noticed, and you mentioned that this was phase one, and just for folks who are watching, I just wanted to clarify, are we likely to see in phase 2 and 3 additional requests for TIF funding?
I think that's probably likely.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Oh, and then one last question. The vacated Missouri Pacific Rail line that runs along this property, I know it's not necessarily in phase 1, but I wanted to, will that still be trail? Will that be maintained for trail?
Well, the trail is intended to be maintained,
Okay.
the existing trail. So if there are any additional parts of the right-of-way that are preserved, I think that the intention is to maintain that as an amenity to the residential units along that.
All right, thank you.
Other questions for Ms. Salem? All right, seeing none, thank you.
Good evening.
Welcome.
Andrew Willis, 233 South 13th Street, on behalf of the redeveloper. And again, this is really in the redevelopment plan for the Coyote Finke project that has been through here and approved. There was 3 phases. In one, this is the animal clinic phase 1, a 7,900 square foot commercial building. I guess in one sense, it's a smaller piece of the larger project, where the phase 2 or 3 really is larger as far as increment. And yes, to answer the councilwoman's question, we will likely be back for a redevelopment agreement on phase 2 and 3. It really is, but this really is a key to making this project work. This phase 1, the animal clinic, that's sort of the primary business here, and will drive this larger redevelopment. It's a very challenging area between the Mopac Trail and Dead Man's Run. I think we got a good plan to make this work and make something cool here. The Mopac Trail will remain trail. It will be, that's very intentionally will remain trail, but again, that's not even part of this phase. This really is just that initial clinic, parking lot, first building. I think it probably about a $4 million investment in the animal clinic, in the veterinary clinic. Anticipate about a $1.4 million valuation, and so $240,000 in TIF. Again, that's really, while small in the grand scheme of things, again, very crucial to making the overall all 3 phases work. Really, I guess, I'd be happy to answer any questions. You saw the pictures and this is and where this is, but I'd be happy to answer any questions about phase 1.
Questions for Mr. Willis? Nope, seeing none. Thank you.
Thank you
very much. Any other persons present that would like to testify on this item? Okay. Did I say persons present? Presence person? All right. All right. Thank you. Seeing none, Madam Clerk, can you please move us on?
We can now vote on these items. Item 5A, accepting and approving the report of new and pending claims against the city for October 16th through October 31st, 2022, introduced by Washington.
So moved.
Second. Seconded by Raybold. Further discussion? Seeing none, please call the vote.
Schob?
Yes.
Raybold?
Yes.
Bowers?
Yes.
Washington?
Yes.
Beckius?
Yes.
Ward?
Yes.
Motion carried 6-0. Item 5B is Comprehensive Plan Conformance 22020, application of the Urban Development Department Director to review as to conformance with the 2050 Lincoln-Lancaster County Comprehensive Plan, a proposed amendment to the Lincoln Center redevelopment plan, adding the 300 South 16th Street redevelopment project to include the rehabilitation of a multifamily structure on property generally located at 300 South 16th Street, introduced by Washington.
So moved.
Second.
Seconded by Beckius. Further discussion? Seeing none, please call the vote.
Bowers?
Yes.
Washington?
Yes.
Raybold?
Yes.
Beckius?
Yes.
Schob?
Yes.
Ward?
Yes.
Motion carried 6-0. Item 5C is approving the Coyote Finke Phase 1 project redevelopment agreement between the City of CTAC Enterprises and relating to the redevelopment of the property generally located at 500 North 66th Street, introduced by Washington.
So moved.
Second.
Seconded by Beckius. Further discussion? Seeing none, please call the vote.
Raybold?
Yes.
Bowers?
Yes.
Beckius?
Yes.
Washington?
Yes.
Schob?
Yes.
Ward?
Yes.
Motion carried 6-0. Item 5D is amending the fiscal year 22-23 CIP to authorize and appropriate $240,000 in tax increment financing funds for the Coyote Finke Phase 1 project, introduced by Washington.
So moved?
Second. Seconded by Raybold. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please call the vote.
Bowers?
Yes.
Washington?
Yes.
Raybold?
Yes.
Schob?
Yes.
Beckius?
Yes.
Ward?
Yes.
Motion carried 6-0. That concludes our Section 5 of our agenda. We shall now move on to Section 6, Public Hearing Ordinances, Second Reading, and Related Resolutions. Item 6A is authorizing the issuance of not to exceed $300 million in Lincoln Electric System revenue and refunding bonds.
Welcome, Emily. Again.
I am Emily Koenig with Lincoln Electric System, 9445 Rokeby Road. So this 11th series ordinance falls under our general ordinance, for which we've been issuing bonds under for the last, since 2001. And so under the normal course of business, this would have come along with our budget and rates resolutions, but we had a little bit of an administrative hiccup, so we're off schedule a little bit. But this ordinance provides for the issuance of up to $300 million in Lincoln Electric System revenue bonds through December 31st of 2024. Any issuance of bonds would still require the approval of the Lincoln Electric System Board. This just provides us with a little bit more speedy process as we move towards market if we find that the conditions are favorable to either issue new money bonds or refunding bonds. And just as a point of reference, since 2012, we have issued refunding bonds that have saved LES customers $84 million over that time frame, and a lot of times we're acting very quickly to get to market because those conditions are favorable to do that. In 2018, we did lose the ability to do advance refundings on a tax-exempt basis, but even in 2020, we were able to do a refunding on a taxable basis, which we saved $16 million in net present value for customers. So we don't have any intention really of issuing bonds over the next couple of years, but just in the event that we would need to for a capital improvement or market conditions would change such that it made sense to do a refinancing of our bonds, that's what we're seeking today. So I'd be happy to answer any questions for you.
Any questions, comments? All right, seeing none. All right.
Probably no refinancing anytime
I
soon.
don't think so.
Thank you.
Yep,
Thank you very much. All right. Anyone else present that would like to comment on this item, number 7A? All right. Seeing none, let's move on.
We shall now move on to Section 7, Resolutions Action Only. Item 7A is adopting Lincoln Electric System annual budget for 2023 to become effective January 1st of 2023, introduced by Schob.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Seconded by Beckius. Further discussion? I do have something to say on behalf of Councilman McGinnis that could not be here today. I spoke with him. He's traveling back to Lincoln, but he just asked me to express his appreciation to the LES staff and his gratitude for your work on the budget. And he appreciates that very much, and he understands that there would not have been an increase had there not been a need for one. And so he asked me to convey that to you on his behalf. So wanted to do that for Councilman McGinnis, so thank you on his behalf. So any other discussion? All right.
I learned a lot during this
Yeah,
process.
that's true.
And I appreciate the folks who came in and made comments. I had not understood completely the long history of city dividend, but I appreciated the opportunity to dig in and find out more about that and to see what was really beneath those comments. And I now understand, and thank you for that primer, Ms. Keener.
Thank you for that, Councilwoman. Any other comments? All right. Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please move us on.
Washington?
Yes.
Raybold?
Yes.
Schob?
Yes.
Bowers?
Yes.
Beckius?
Yes.
Ward?
Yes.
Motion carried 6-0. Item 7B is adopting Lincoln Electric System rate schedules to become effective January 1st, 2023, introduced by Schob.
So moved.
Second.
Seconded by Raybold. Further discussion? Seeing none, please call the vote.
Washington?
Yes.
Raybold?
Yes.
Schob?
Yes.
Bowers?
Yes.
Beckius?
Yes.
Ward?
Yes.
Motion carried 6-0. Okay. That concludes Section 7, Resolutions, Action Only. We shall now move on to Section 8, Ordinances, Third Reading and Related Resolutions. Item 8A is change of zone 08057C, application of 14 Foods and extended by Planning Department to amend University Place PUD planned unit development to allow 4 pole signs on property within the PUD, which is south of Layton Ave. Introduced by Shob.
So moved.
Second. Seconded by Raybold. Further discussion? Seeing none, please call the vote.
Washington,
Yes.
Raybold,
Yes.
Shob,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes.
Beckius,
Yes.
Ward.
Yes.
Motion carried 6-0. Item 8B is change of zone 05061E, application of Whitehead Oil Company to amend the Southwest Village PUD planned unit development for an adjustment to the maximum height up to 130 feet for a flagpole at 200 West Amarath Lane and to the general sign requirements within the PUD. Introduced by Shob.
So moved.
Second.
Seconded by Raybold. Further discussion? Seeing none, please call the vote.
Beckius,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes.
Raybold,
Yes.
Washington,
Yes.
Shob,
Yes.
Ward.
Yes.
Motion carried 6-0. Item 8C is amending the pay schedule for the employee group whose classifications are assigned to the pay range prefixed by the letter E.
Discussion?
Beckius are assigned. Shob.
Yes.
Code section amending 7
Please, yes.
9-8.
Not on number 7.
And group and retirees, instructing there's many good to which supported those guidelines. At that time, short-term rentals did not exist. Today, a sexual predator is free to reside for a 1 to 30-day stay at an address where they should be restricted from. We feel that Ordinance 21073 violates the Lincoln Municipal Code 9.16.250. There have been conversations about this issue with the Director of Security for LPS, an LPS school board member, people at the mayor's office and the senator's office, also the director of a Lincoln-based organization to end sex trafficking. It's very troubling when renters are 100% anonymous in these type 2 short-term rentals. There are motels and hotels that use safeguards such as security personnel, identity verifications, anti-crime networks, and they always have 24/7 staff on site. Any type 2 short-term rental within 500 feet of a Lincoln school will be the houses that children walk by 2 times a day, 5 days a week. Crime has evolved since LB 1199 was established by lawmakers who had insight and foresight to protect the children, without even knowing the growing sophistication of crime that we now see 13 years later. TraffickingAwareness.org reports of vacation homes that have been used as residential brothels, child exploitation, drug involvement, kidnapping, and child trafficking. We are asking lawmakers to show the voters that school safety matters. Crime against children is an unfortunate reality. Ignoring it is unacceptable. LB 57 states that the burden shifts to you. If you put restrictions on private property, it must be deemed as necessary for the welfare of the community. We believe that type 2 short-term rentals within the 500-foot zone around all the schools qualifies as a health and safety risk. This lets you clearly demonstrate that child safety is the primary purpose, allowing you to take a reasonable moral stand. The school children of Lincoln cannot speak for themselves. We came as a voice for their safety. Now you are their voice. We're asking you to consider an amendment for the short-term rental ordinance and protect them. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions or comments? Yes, Councilman Bowers.
Thank you so much. What was that website again? I'm sorry. You
My-
mentioned a website that.
Oh,
they have-
trafficking, yes, traffickingawareness.org.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yes, you're welcome.
Any other questions or comments? All right. Thank you
Thank
very
you so
much.
much for listening. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you. All right. Anyone else present who would like to testify on an item not on an agenda or on a future agenda? All right. Seeing none.
I would like to wish everyone a very happy and safe Thanksgiving, and I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Seconded by Beckius. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Raybold,
Yes.
Washington,
Yes.
Shob,
Yes.
Beckius,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes.
Ward.
Yes,
Motion carried 6-0.
we are adjourned.